What is good, everyone? Welcome to the channel. My name is Paul and I make videos about Japanese society, life and culture from the viewpoint of a long-term foreign resident. I've been in the country for 19 years and today I'm going to do a companion video to last week's, which was why Japan is a better place to live than the USA, and today it's going to be why the USA is a better place to live than Japan. This is all just personal opinion from my own experience. I'm not going to be quoting big meta stats at you or anything like that. But let's jump right in with the most easy and easiest to get out of the way, which is being close to family is the number one reason that I would have to live in America. I do miss my family. I have a good relationship with my family, and not being able to be around them, especially when it comes to holidays and other special events, is tough. So that's the number one reason why I'd want to be in America. Now, the second reason is because right now I'm paid in yen. And the yen is in the toilet right now. It's 155 yen to the dollar as I'm recording this. It was 112 when I first arrived in Japan in 2002, and has been everywhere from 88 yen to the dollar all the way up to 115 yen to the dollar normally. This 155 to the dollar is pretty much unheard of. And basically what that means is being paid in yen means I'm poor, and is pretty much the reason why I don't get to visit my family. My salary, what I make, hasn't gone up in years, which is very typical for a lot of salaries in Japan because Japan has been a stagnant economy for quite some time. Just this spring, major companies finally committed to raising salaries, but that's major companies. We're talking like Toyota and Sony and other such giants. Not what I work for. So basically, my monetary situation is really poor at the moment. If you come to Japan, yeah, the plane ticket here is going to be expensive, but once you're here, you're going to feel rich. If I travel back to America, plane tickets are really expensive. We're talking in practical life money terms, about $1,000 more than they used to be. And once I get to the US, I'm very, very poor. $100. I have basically, for me, 10,000 yen in Japan is $100. But right now in America, 10,000 yen is what? $75? If I want to get $100 from yen, I have to spend 15,500 yen to get $100. So it's just rough, and being paid in yen really sucks at the moment. So that's not, I mean, if I was in America, who knows what my salary would be. Maybe I'd be making a lot less money or whatever I was doing, but at least when I'd visit my wife's family and came to Japan, I'd probably be able to get around and feel pretty rich. Okay, the third reason why it would be better for me to live in America than Japan is no one is ever going to question whether I'm American or not. That's just the way it is. No one's going to assume that I don't fit in or don't belong there. The assumption will be, oh yeah, that's an American, and people won't even be thinking about it. In Japan, obviously, the assumption is the opposite, that I'm very likely a tourist and certainly not a Japanese citizen. The greatest number of foreign residents in Japan are mostly from Asian countries, with China being first amongst them. But so I'm a minority of a minority as it is, and most of the white people, Hispanic people, black people here are either short-term residents or tourists at the moment. So it's not an unfair assumption that people would think, oh, you're a temporary visitor or you're here as a tourist, meaning you don't speak Japanese or you don't understand the customs. And that's just something you have to take with a grain of salt when you're in Japan. If not seeming to ever fit in is something that bothers you, then it would be really hard for you to live in Japan because it's just not going to happen. Obviously, the people who know me, who are my friends, who are my coworkers, who have known me for years, my neighbors, etc., they're going to see me as a resident, and they know that I'm here. I'm not here temporarily. But, every new person you meet, they're not going to assume that you're Japanese or that you fit into the society some way. So, that causes issues from time to time. And it certainly can grate on your nerves as well when you just want to go through your day and be treated like anyone else. But It's just one of the costs of living in Japan to not fit in as I would if I lived in America, where no one would even notice me. I think we can all agree that there are definitely times when you just want to fly below the radar and just be assumed to belong where you actually are and where you feel you belong yourself. Having that sense of belonging, extending beyond yourself to the people around you, you want to be accepted. I think that's just a very human thing. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about is actually a bit of opposite of one thing that I talked about last week, which is food. So I talked last week about Japanese food being always of a particularly good quality. It's very hard to have a bad meal in Japan because you have a very good expectation of how things are going to be. It's going to be good quality, it's going to be good tasting, even if it's not the most amazing meal you've ever had. However, Japan is definitely behind the curve when it comes to ethnic food, and I spoke about this in a video about a month ago, and I apologize for repeating myself, but it still is the case that if I were in America now, I would be able to get more authentic food from other countries, because it's still very much the case that in Japan, whether it's Vietnamese, Mexican, Chinese, whatever it might be, it's going to be very much changed for Japanese tastes. The best examples I can think of is the fact that you can go into pretty much any Indian restaurant in Japan and it's the exact same menu. I mean, India is a huge, diverse country with a lot of different food, but there's none of that diversity in Japanese Indian restaurants. I mean, I'm sure there's some exceptions out there, but for the most part, it's the same menu, the same curries, the same side dishes, every restaurant you walk into. Same with Yokohama Chinatown. There's a few exceptions, but for the most part, if you look at all the menus in Yokohama Chinatown, it's definitely the for Japanese taste menu. They're almost identical. You look at all the menus as you walk around. Sure, there will be like a particular shop that's better at one particular thing than the others. It's become famous for this type of meat bun or whatever, but the menus are all the same. The quality might just differ. And finally, the last one is also a flip of last week. Last week I talked about actually my number one thing why Japan is a great place to live is because people take their job seriously. But of course the dark side of that is Japanese take their job too seriously. And particularly how this would reflect me wanting to live in America, or why America would be a better place to live, is in America they won't care about certain details that don't have any meaning or any meaningful contribution to the transaction that's taking place. Example I've often given is the time I filled out an application in Japan for an insurance policy, and I got a call about a week later telling me that I needed to refill out the entire form because I had written the U in my name, Paul, with a little stem on it, which is how I was taught way back in first grade as a precursor to writing cursive. You put the little stem on there because it's going to go on to the next letter, which in my case, my name, it would be L. So I had to rewrite an entire form to write my U like this, how it should be done in Japan. So basically I wrote my name wrong for the first time in over 2 decades. And yeah, it's in America, no one would be bothered by that sort of thing. No one's going to be fussed about a little tiny difference in how something is written. And yeah, it's taken to extremes in Japan, how detail-oriented things are, and if you don't dot all the I's and cross all the T's, you pretty much end up having to do everything from the beginning. And taking your job seriously is great, but if that leads to caring about things that don't really matter for the purpose of your job, then that's taking it too far. And sometimes it's just refreshing in Japan it's just refreshing in America, rather, to be able to get certain work done and not be stressed out that you filled everything out exactly right and that you did everything in the exact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps that they want you to do it. So yeah, it can be so much more of a relaxed customer service environment in America because they're not going to hassle you over the tiny details. Okay? those are my 5 reasons. By no means were last week's 5 reasons Japan is great and this week's 5 reasons why America is great are exhaustive. Obviously there are a lot of other things, but I wanted to give the first ones that come to my mind, the ones that I feel are the most relative to my life and might be of most interest to you. So if you got any use or value out of today's video, I invite you to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I know that most people who watch the channel are not in fact subscribed, so it'd be great if you would do that. And by all means share the video, because that would really help me out as well. My Patreon is linked below, links to last week's videos below, and I want to thank you very much for watching this particular video. I'll catch you next week. Peace.